It's crazy to think how long Plants vs. Zombies has been going on for. The fact that a third game is in consideration is insane. Because looking back at it, the original Plants vs. Zombie I think came out in 2008, 2009, somewhere along those lines. I feel like that was during the time EA was actually willing to take some risks and make something new and different for once. Rather than some of the same old with sports games, Star Wars games, and maybe something else in there like an old franchise. Just bring that back for one game, see if it does any good, realize it doesn't sell very well, and then just never ever talk about it again. I'm looking at you, Dead Space Remake. I wish Dead Space Remake sold better, but it is an extremely good game regardless. But let's talk about Plants vs. Zombies. So, EA has called upon fans to provide feedback on the art direction of the reimagined Plants vs. Zombies 3. So what they've said in an EA blog post is as follows. We ran some external tests to gather insight into which art styles sparked interest among participants in our focus groups. Oh god, focus groups, Jesus Christ. Okay, well, we'll move on from that. We're actively gathering that data, but we also don't know that there's no better feedback than yours, the passionate PvZ community, EA says in a new blog post, and I just repeated that for no reason. But yeah, pretty much, the idea is we have a zombie getting punched by a bok choy, and basically the idea is that people just kind of share their thoughts on each of the art styles. For me personally, I like this top art style the best because the left one looks too much like Pixar and the right one, as much as I like the comic book-y art style and there being a bit more detail, I feel like you're going to give people the wrong impression that it's sourced from a comic book and that people are going to look for that stuff. I actually don't know if Plants vs. Zombies even has a comic book, but if it does, then the one on the right would be an excellent style, though personally I just prefer a more squishier style here at the top, but I digress. But not so squishy that it looks like the Pixar stuff on the left. Jesus Christ. Sorry, not Pixar stuff on the left. God no. And I say that, I want to say that in a good way, but the problem is Pixar hasn't really made that many good movies recently, whereas like some of their older movies I've kind of watched back to front over and over for the past year. So there's that element to it. But, and this is what I didn't know, and this GameSpot article does cover it, Plants vs. Zombies was first announced, Plants vs. Zombies 3 was first announced in 2019, soft launched in various regions past few years such as Australia and the Philippines. The game was taken offline months later as EA sought to give it a major overhaul. It's likely that the new art direction is part of the initiative. And yeah, okay, then it goes on to say, yep, Plants vs. Zombies 1, 2009, Plants vs. Zombies 2, 2013. And then we got the spin-off of Garden Warfare, which was insanely popular. So, I thought to myself as I sat back, is there any way of actually being able to see the actual number of players that are actually playing Plants vs. Zombies games? And then I thought about it. How many of these games are on PC, and then how many of them are on Origin? So I thought, oh, hold on, there are some games on Steam. So I thought, okay, let's actually look at the Steam charts. Does the series still hold up numbers wise? So, Plants vs. Zombies Game of the Year. And looking at the numbers, I'm actually kind of surprised that the numbers are as high as they are, because keeping in mind, all the games are available on previously known as Origin, now known as EA app, because the say for example Garden Warfare 1, that never released on Steam. So while I don't have numbers for that particular game, you can just imagine that while there are players on Steam, there may be a chance that there's actually more on the EA app, for example. Though I wouldn't put it past anyone to think, well, I mean, that seems kind of unlikely, but yeah. So currently we have 2,656 players playing an hour ago, with a 24-hour peak of 3,457, with an all-time peak of 16,225. And if you think that I can't read numbers, I can't really. So, and it's insane to think that the game really popped off around here in 2020. Holy crap, wait, hold on. That's crazy, what the heck? Yeah, game really popped off at in 2020. And then it's gone up. It's gone up, what the heck? It's like 2020, we've got like about 1,900 here, and then here now we've got around like 3,900. What the heck? What the heck's going on here? This is crazy. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, this game is doing numbers that people wish they could nowadays, if I'm being completely honest. So as much as there is an entrenched audience in many live service titles, I think there might be an entrenched audience for Plants vs. Zombies of all things. Anyway, so we have Plants vs. Zombies here, and then I thought, okay, let's have a look at Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, because Garden Warfare 1 did not get a Steam release, but I looked at the numbers and I'm like, you know, all things considered, this is actually not bad, with 1,276 players as of an hour ago, 2,052 players in the 24-hour peak, and 9,420 for an all-time peak. And I sat there and looked at it for a second, and I thought to myself, that's actually kind of cool. That, like, this game is still pulling in numbers of people. Yeah, it's not as many as it used to be, but geez, like, it is still really bringing in the numbers, though. So make no mistake, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, despite the fact that this game came out, what, how long ago? I don't even know. It was like, when did Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 release? Hold on. PVZ Garden Warfare. It must have been like 2015, right? 2. Must have been 2015. 2016? Oh, okay. I was close. I said 2015. 14 January 2016. People still playing this game, by the way. People are still playing. It's like as if it never left and has only been around for as long as, say, for example, something like Rainbow Six Sieges, as an example. That's just insane to think about. And then, of course, the follow-up to Garden Warfare 2, we have Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighbourville, which is just another Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare game. Sure, the numbers aren't looking better. In fact, they're looking significantly worse. 269 playing an hour ago, 435 in the 24-hour peak, and 3,966 players at an all-time peak. Looks like that peak was also reached midway through 2024 of all things, which is also a fun thing to look at. There you go. See, you got the little peak here, and then you kind of go down. I feel like there's a bit of like a trough down here with a couple of points, but I digress. I'm looking at a graph and pointing at it to you guys. So while Plants vs. Zombies Game of the Year and to some extent Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 are incredibly impressive in the numbers of players that they're pulling in, it's unfortunate to see what's happening with Battle for Neighbourville, but hey ho, like, you know, it is what it is. So imagine them getting a like a Plants vs. Zombies 3. What would that look like? What would they do with a new Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare game? Because I feel like if Garden Warfare 1 did come out on Steam, I feel like that could do numbers more than Garden Warfare 2 does. Because I'll be completely honest, I think I had more fun playing 1 than I had playing 2. So unfortunately, we don't really have the numbers to kind of support that sort of argument. But I'm just kind of putting that out there as a thought. Just imagine what that could have potentially been. But with all that being said, I simply read the article of EA fans. EA wants fans to decide the future of PvZ3, and then I thought to myself, how popular could this franchise possibly be? And then see that even the numbers on PC are actually still quite impressive, given that, you know, these games are not prevalently played on PC. Well, Garden Warfare for sure, but like Plants vs. Zombies, more people play on phones than they do anywhere else, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm just interested to see what the future of Plants vs. Zombies look like, because I don't think a lot of people would talk about this franchise, given that a lot of people would consider it to potentially be maybe a dead franchise, but no, it's still very much popular even to this day. In fact, like I said, Plants vs. Zombies 2 never released on PC. That released only on mobile, on Android and iOS, so I can't really pick up numbers for that either, but maybe there's also just as many people playing 2 as there is 1. But again, keeping in mind, people did not like 2 because they went too heavy with the microtransactions when that game came out back in 2013. Though that was also the same time EA made Dungeon Keeper, and Jesus Christ, like, Dungeon Keeper got absolutely wrecked. Let's say the mobile release. People hated the microtransactions on this game. Holy crap, 2014. So it was not that much better, but yeah. So with all that being said, however, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year, or by the end of next year. But with all that being, actually not, by the end of this year. Yes, by the end of this year. But with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Ooh, Dungeon Keeper.